So what the affirmative side mentioned was, the first point was legalizing adult has multiple economic benefits such as tax benefits. To counter that, I would say that basically, despite the economic benefits, prostitution being considered as a victimless crime is just like, it's false, and it basically creates it's a setting where it creates a setting whereby crimes against men, women, and children become a commercial enterprise. When a pimp compels a prostitute to submit sexual demands as a condition of employment, it's exploitation, sexual harassment, or rape, acts that are based on the prostitute's compliance rather than their consent. And the fact that a pimp or customer is actually giving money to submitting to these acts does not alter the fact that child sexual abuse, rape occurs. And it just redefines these crimes which is known as prostitution. And also, and then also a second point I would like to add is that a culture in which women and men can flourish, like a culture in which women and men can be bought for use, is where rape really flourishes. For example, in cases of the gang rape by sportsmen in Australia in 2004, it had become evident that the use of prostitutes and strip clubs was integral to the woman hating and male bonding, which led to the sexual violence. This also suggests that people who are not prostituted are safer because prostitutes are set aside to be commercially raped on their behalf. Prostitution cannot eliminate rape when it itself bought rape. The connection between rape and prostitution is that women and men are turned into objects for sexual use, and they can be either bought or stolen. Then his second point, when he said that prostitution can be made safer and basically reduces STDs. There was even if a prostitute is tested every week for HIV, she will be probably tested negative for at least the first 4 to 6 weeks, and probably possibly the first 12 weeks after being infected. This means that while the test is becoming positive and the results are becoming known, that the prostitute may expose 630 clients to HIV. This is under the best of circumstances with testing every week and a 4-period window period. It also assumes that prostitute will quit working as soon as he or she finds out that the test is HIV positive, and which could be highly unlikely. So I believe that this won't be like a really good approach for like legalizing prostitution. Won't really reduce STD rates. So instead, in order to slow the global spread of HIV and AIDS, we should just focus on efforts on just really abolishing it rather than legalizing it. And then his third point, when he talked about legalizing will allow government to control, as it will basically as it will basically, labor will have rights, which includes safety, basically procedures, etc. But despite it being controlled by the government, I believe that illegal prostitution will still happen even if it's controlled by the government. It also, and at the same time, it won't, like, as illegal prostitution, it will basically it will double as the amount of legal prostitutions increases. And also the same thing is that considering that women are more rape victims, Yeah, so as I was saying is that the fact that women are more rape victims, so prostitution would be still extremely dangerous for them because homicide is a frequent cause of death, and it's a cruel lie to suggest that decriminalization or legalization will actually protect anyone in prostitution. It's also not possible to protect. It's not possible to protect someone whose source of income exposes them to the likelihood of being raped on average once a week. And also, and when it's controlled by the government, I still believe that if the sexual assaults of children in prostitution will still be there and it will increase because over the last 4 years, an Ontario police force has tried to curb the practice of men paying sex with underage girls by having undercover officers pose as child prostitutes online. On Friday, York Regional Police announced that their operation, dubbed Project Raphael, resulted in arrests of 104 men allegedly looking to buy sex from children. Sergeant Thai Trong of the force's human trafficking team said no girls were harmed in the operation, in which officers advertised sex services online as girls between the ages of 13 and 16. Police have successfully arrested traffickers in the past who forced children into the sex trade, Trong noted, but the prosecution is arduous on the victims, which again connects to the point that whether it's legalized, whether it's under the control of the government, it will still sexual assaults on children will still be there. Thank you.